Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about substance abuse and addiction and why it is our responsibility as believers to take action against it. Did you know that some children between as early as 12 and 13 years old are already abusing substances and drugs? Why should you care? Because addiction is a growing problem that many people in the world today have to face. And God calls believers to show compassion for the sick and calls us as believers to show hospitality to everyone. Why do I care? A few years ago, I was addicted to what is now an illegal substance known as spice. My addiction just about cost me everything. I sought help. I successfully completed a rehabilitation program, and I've been completely sober for nearly 2 years now. What I know is that addiction is a problem that is corrupting the lives and the values of people of all ages and backgrounds, and it is the responsibility of believers to show compassion and hospitality to these sick individuals, and in doing so, promote God's values of honesty and human life. My goal is to tell you about how addiction is a deadly disease, how it can affect any individual. It can cause individuals to do things and participate in things that they normally would not. And I want to persuade you to take a stand against addiction by promoting God's values and assisting those who are afflicted by this deadly disease. As I said already, addiction is a deadly disease that can affect anyone regardless of race, age, gender, religion, anything. The experts at the National Institute on Drug Abuse say addiction is defined as a chronic, relapsing brain disease that is characterized by compulsive drug seeking and use despite harmful consequences, whether those consequences be harmful to themselves or to other individuals. Why do people use drugs? There's several reasons. The primary reason is really to feel good. Drugs give people a high that makes them feel good. It gives some individuals a sense of comfort. You've heard of drowning your sorrows in alcohol and things like that. There are drugs out there that can help individuals perform better. There's drugs that help you with memory, that can keep you awake so that you can cram for that test that you need to get studied up for. And there's even drugs that enhance physical performance, steroids, even still, all of which can be addictive. The primary reason that people get involved in drug use is probably peer pressure. People who have friends that are using drugs or family members that are using drugs, that when it's offered to them to fit in with the crowd, they say, oh, absolutely. Anyone can become addicted to drugs. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, who your parents are, who your grandparents are. If you're presented with the opportunity and you say yes, you run the risk of becoming addicted.
Yeah.
Addiction causes individuals to stray from the life that God has planned for them and from His values. Addiction causes changes in the brain. There are certain drugs that can kill brain cells and cause memory loss. Addiction may cause people to do things they may not normally do, such as lying in order to persuade people to do things, stealing from people, cash, anything that you can think of, stealing cash, money, drugs, anything to afford their habit. And in some severe cases, even killing others. It is the responsibility of every believer to show compassion and hospitality to the sick and oppressed. Listed here are a few verses that promote some of the values that or some of the things that God values: human life, compassion, and hospitality. How can you help? The first step is to remove drugs and drug paraphernalia from your home and lock up your prescriptions. That way your children and people coming over cannot get a hold of them. Another thing is to call a local rehabilitation center for help if you have someone in your family that needs assistance. You can host an intervention. Or if all else fails, call the National Drug Information and Referral Hotline at 800-662-HELP. So what have we learned today? I've told you about how addiction is a deadly disease affecting all types of individuals, informed you of how addicts can lose control of themselves and partake of things they normally would not, and proposed to you a solution for the problem based on God's values shown to you in the Scripture. With the growing problem of addiction corrupting the lives and values of people of all ages and backgrounds, it's the responsibility of believers to show compassion and hospitality to these sick individuals, and by doing so promote God's values of honesty and human life. I challenge you to stand up and assist those in need, to take action and prevent the sale of illegal substances and promote God's values. Together, this is a goal I believe we can eventually meet. There are a lot of things in this world that were once thought impossible. Circumnavigating the globe, instant communication via telephone, even flying through the sky. However, thanks to Ferdinand Magellan, Alexander Graham Bell, even the Wright brothers, we take these things for granted nowadays. They're everyday activities. How amazing will it be when we as believers pursuing God's values are able to wipe addiction out of our homes, our schools, our towns, and maybe even eventually one day the world. This concludes the speech, Ms. Alban. For your verification, we have an audience of 1, 2, 3 adults. Thank you so very much. You have a wonderful evening.